Okay, before we get into sharpening with a stationary stone, let's talk about taking care of our stones, our sharpening stones. I have two sharpening stones here. One is a coarse grit and one is a fine grit. They are both ceramic. If you have a dual stone, like the Hufridi dual stone, in that case, it's a blue and white. The blue is coarse and the white is fine. You can see here that you do not have to lubricate your stones, but if you do lubricate them, the shards get embedded into the stone and it shortens the life of your stone. So it's best to lubricate. You can use either water or oil. However, once you've used oil, you can no longer have the option to use water on that stone. So I've got some water right here that I will dip my stone into. Okay. And then after you're done sharpening, if you just take a gauze and wet that, you can wipe down and remove a lot of the shards. And that will clean your stone and lengthen, excuse me, while I bump that, lengthen the life of your stone. So with the stationary stone method, it is more stable, and when done properly, as with any sharpening, you do not misshape your instrument as you're sharpening. So we'll talk first about sharpening a sickle scaler. This is the H67 sickle. What you want to do is place the sickle on the stone so that the face is parallel to the short end of your stone. Okay. Get a fulcrum firm, but not too firm, because it's going to be a sliding fulcrum as you sharpen. You find your 90-degree, your right angle face to stone, and then you lift up. Let me zoom in. You lift up the handle so that you get that 110-degree face to stone angulation. It's more difficult to see this with a stationary stone, and so tactile sensitivity is very important. If you have gone above 110-degree angulation, you can start seeing space between the face of the instrument and the stone, and it's a little bit more wobbly. If you're closer to 90 degrees, you're still wobbly, and it feels just a little bit more secure when you are at 110 degrees. Okay. So if you maintain your instruments regularly after each use, you generally just need to do a honing stroke. And for that, what you want to do is just roll your instrument from heel to toe in one sweep as you're coming forward. You're not lifting up or changing the angulation of your grasp. You're just rolling your instrument as you come forward. And that is a finishing stroke or a honing stroke if you're really good about maintaining your instruments after each use. If you're not good about sharpening and you do it only when things get bad, then you want to do a coarse grit first and then finish up with your fine grit in this fashion. Always end your strokes with the face of the instrument leading the way. Okay, don't go backwards. That creates burrs on your blade. Always end with the face leading the way. Okay. If you need to go to a coarse stone first because your blade is really dull, wet that down. You're going to do multiple strokes in the heel third, the middle third, and then the toe third. Most of your sharpening will occur on the toe third because that's the area that we adapt to the tooth surface, and that's where it will be the dullest. Start on the heel third. You're going to do multiple strokes with that sliding fulcrum. End that heel third with the face leading the way. Roll to the middle third. Continue your strokes. End there with the face leading the way. Roll to the toe third or tip third. Multiple strokes and more there. End with the face leading the way. Okay. You will then, with a damp 2x2, wipe the shards off of that, and then you can test. If it bites, if it bites into the test stick, you're sharp. If it slips and slides all over the test stick, you still have more sharpening to go. So once it's sharp, you go back to your fine stone and end with the finishing stroke. Face always leading the way. If I were to do the other side, for me, I would go backwards, and I'm at an awkward angle here for filming, but I would do my sliding stroke this way and do that without lifting. Stop that motion. There are some instruments that make it very difficult because of all their many angulations and bends in their shank. So this way, not a big deal. This way is. So that's why I've got a box here, and you would do this over the edge of the counter. So now your fulcrum can be your fingers, your knuckles on the side of the counter, and that will be your sliding fulcrum there. Same thing, you'll know because it feels more secure, and you go that way. Okay. And once again, you will end with cleaning your stone, and you will clean your instrument with the gauze. The other thing to consider as you're sharpening instruments, any instruments, sickles, because they are triangular in cross section, you do not want to create a third cutting edge over time, and you want to maintain that sharp tip. So to avoid getting that third cutting edge, you take the back of the instrument and you just clockwise, counterclockwise rotations. Be careful of the very tip and just kind of roll back and forth. On toed instruments, this is the Gracie 1-2 with the offset face already at 70 degrees. What you want to do, see if I can zoom in a little bit more here, get back. What you want to do is basically create almost like a slide of the face going right to the ground, right to the stone. And that's where your angulation needs to be. And then you just kind of round out that toe back and forth. Okay. You don't want to be straight on the toe. You will turn that into a chisel end and not a toe. And back here won't do as much good. Okay, so just round it out like this. Remember, the face needs to be parallel perpendicular to the stone no matter what instrument you have. So get it perpendicular, lift up, feel that you are at 110 degrees because it is more secure, and then heel to toe without changing that overall angulation.